The Battle of Alesia, the siege that changed history. Imagine this, it's 52 BC, and you're Julius Caesar, the man who's conquered Gaul, won countless battles, and is one step away from becoming the most powerful man in Rome. But there's one tiny problem: Vercingetorix, the fierce Gallic chieftain, isn't going down without a fight. You've surrounded him and his army at Alesia, but now you're facing a question that could define your legacy. How do you conquer a man who refuses to surrender, even when the odds are stacked against him? And here's another twist: what happens when your own men start to doubt you? When your enemies are not only within the walls of Alesia but also potentially within your own camp? Will your grand strategy be enough to break the Gallic spirit, or will this be the battle that breaks you? As the siege drags on, tensions rise, and with every passing day, the stakes get higher. What tactics will Caesar employ? What secret weapons does Vercingetorix have up his sleeve? And most importantly, what will it take to tip the scales in this epic showdown between Rome and Gaul? Picture this, it's 52 BC, and the ancient world is ablaze with conflict. At the heart of it all is a man with a name as sharp as his tactics, Julius Caesar. But Caesar isn't facing just any foe, he's up against Vercingetorix, a Gallic chieftain with hair as wild as his ambitions. This is the story of Alesia, a siege that was as much about strategy as it was about stubborn pride, and, let's face it, a lot of sheer audacity. Let's rewind a bit. Caesar, always the opportunist, wasn't just a military commander, he was a politician with an eye for the spotlight. Back in Rome, the Senate was getting nervous. Caesar's victories were piling up, and with each triumph, so did his power. But to cement his legacy, Caesar needed something big. Conquering Gaul? That sounded about right. On the other side, Vercingetorix, and yes, try saying that 5 times fast, wasn't about to let Caesar waltz into his homeland without a fight. Born into the aristocratic Arverni tribe, Vercingetorix had seen enough of Rome's encroachment and decided to unite the Gallic tribes against this Roman upstart. His father, Celtillus, had once tried to lead a similar rebellion, only to be executed by his own people. Talk about family drama. With his father's fate as a cautionary tale, Vercingetorix took up the mantle, determined not to make the same mistakes. By the time they clashed at Alesia, both men were seasoned veterans of the battlefield and of political maneuvering. Vercingetorix had proven his mettle by using guerrilla tactics to harass the Roman legions, scoring a significant win at Gergovia. But when things got too hot, he retreated to the hilltop fortress of Alesia, a place he believed was impregnable. And here's where things get interesting. Caesar, ever the tactician, saw an opportunity. Instead of attacking Alesia directly, because, let's face it, who wants to lose that many men, he decided to starve them out. And so began the siege that would go down in history, not just because of what happened, but because of how it happened. Imagine standing on the front lines of history's greatest battles, feeling the intensity, the fear, and the courage of those who fought to shape the world as we know it. On our channel, European Battle, we don't just recount history, we bring it to life. Through vivid storytelling and immersive visuals, we take you deep into the heart of each conflict, revealing the untold stories, the strategic genius, and the personal sacrifices that changed the course of history. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're joining a community of history enthusiasts who crave knowledge, insight, and the thrill of discovery. You'll gain access to exclusive content that dives even deeper into the moments that defined empires and changed the fate of nations. Don't miss your chance to experience history like never before. Follow us, subscribe, and click the notification button. Together, let's uncover the stories that deserve to be told, and let's ensure they are never forgotten. Join us on this journey through time, and be part of something truly extraordinary. Now, Caesar didn't just build a wall, oh no, he built 2. The inner wall, the circumvallation, was to keep the Gauls in. The outer wall, the contravallation, was to keep anyone from helping them out. If you're thinking, that sounds like overkill, you're right. But Caesar was playing for keeps. These walls weren't just barriers, they were bristling with traps, spikes, and every nasty surprise Caesar's engineers could dream up. Vercingetorix, watching from his perch on the hill, probably had a moment of, well, this is awkward. But he wasn't out of tricks just yet. He sent out the non-combatants, women, children, the elderly, hoping Caesar might let them pass. Caesar, in a move that could only be described as cold-hearted brilliance, refused. The civilians were left to suffer between the two walls, a grim reminder of the stakes at play. Inside Alesia, the situation turned from bad to worse. Food was running out, and so was morale. Vercingetorix, ever the leader, tried to keep his warriors' spirits up, but even he couldn't ignore the gnawing hunger. As the days dragged on, the tension was palpable. Imagine the conversations. So, Vercingetorix, what's the plan? We wait, and hope. Then came the news everyone had been waiting for. Gallic reinforcements were on the way. And not just any reinforcements, but tens of thousands of warriors ready to break the siege. For Vercingetorix, this was it. For Caesar, it was just another problem to solve. When the relief force arrived, all hell broke loose. The Gauls launched an all-out assault on Caesar's outer fortifications, trying to break through and relieve their trapped comrades. Inside Alesia, Vercingetorix's men attacked the inner wall in a desperate attempt to link up with the reinforcements. The battlefield was chaos, with men fighting, dying, and shouting orders that were lost in the din of battle. Caesar, cool under pressure, rode along the lines, encouraging his men. "Remember, boys, Rome's watching," he'd shout, with a grin that probably sent shivers down a few spines. At the height of the battle, when things were looking grim, Caesar ordered his cavalry, led by the ever-reliable Mark Antony, to launch a surprise attack on the Gallic rear. The move was a gamble, but it paid off. The Gallic relief force was routed, and the siege held firm. With his last hope dashed, Vercingetorix knew the game was up. In what can only be described as a scene worthy of a Hollywood epic, he donned his finest armor, mounted his horse, and rode out to surrender to Caesar. Imagine the tension as Vercingetorix, proud even in defeat, threw down his weapons at Caesar's feet. The silence that followed must have been deafening. Caesar, ever the showman, probably savored the moment. Vercingetorix was taken to Rome in chains, where he would be paraded in Caesar's triumph, a cruel reminder of the price of defiance. Years later, he was executed, his spirit unbroken even in death. The victory at Alesia wasn't just another notch on Caesar's belt, it was the defining moment of his career. Back in Rome, the Senate had no choice but to acknowledge his success, even as they feared his growing power. For Caesar, Alesia was the stepping stone to absolute power, but it also sowed the seeds of his downfall. The brutality of the siege, the suffering of the Gallic people, and the ruthlessness of Caesar's tactics left a dark stain on his legacy. And as we all know, what goes around comes around. The very Senate that cheered his victories would later plot his assassination, a fitting end for a man who had conquered the world, only to be undone by his ambition. As for Vercingetorix, his name would live on as a symbol of resistance. Though he lost the battle, he became a legend, a warrior who fought against impossible odds for the freedom of his people. Love epic stories with a twist of humor? Want to see more tales of history's greatest battles? Don't forget to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and click the notification bell on our channel, European Battle. You won't want to miss what's coming next.